Let's now bring in New York Times chief Washington correspondent Carl Hulse, the editor of The New Republic, Michael Tomasky, and co-host of The Weeknight right here on MSNBC, Symone Sanders Townsend. A great group to start us off this hour. Carl, starting with you, President Trump is spelling it all out for us right on Truth Social this morning. 2 posts of note. First, an all-caps screed saying, once again, repeating the false talking point about Democrats wanting to give health care money to illegal aliens. And then, more importantly, perhaps, this one that's on the screen now, in which he says, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the Democratic agencies to cut. It goes on from there. He deems this an unprecedented opportunity. He says, quote, they're not stupid people, meaning the Democrats, so maybe this is their way of wanting to quickly and quietly get this done. So, Carl, it's interesting here that, I mean, Russ Vought is being positioned as sort of like the boogeyman, right? That he is the scary guy out front wielding the hatchet to cut all these government agencies. We should also note, during the campaign, President Trump tried to keep his distance from Project 2025. Yeah. And here he is flat out saying, yep, that's what we're doing. Do you think this scare tactic will move the needle with Democrats?
Yeah, I think it might backfire, honestly. And you saw some members say this yesterday. The Republicans think they kind of have the high ground right now, which is unusual in a shutdown for the Republicans. And that, going on a tear and laying off a bunch of people could really turn off people to the Republicans. I saw Kevin Cramer was warning against this. So I agree, though, that Russ Vought definitely has been made as the bogeyman here, and Democrats on Capitol Hill see him that way. That I talked to Senator Mark Warner yesterday, and Mark Warner would really be somebody to watch here, right? Virginia senator, lots of employees, federal employees in his state, and he's not really hearing from those employees. They're not mad because they're already mad at Russ Vought about what's gone on with layoffs and threats. So I think the administration probably is going to hear from some of the Republican members in the Senate and the House, like, be careful going forward here. Don't blow kind of what we think is a good hand.
So, Michael, I wrote for The Atlantic on Monday that Russ Vought was trying to do now what Doge started. And here the president flat out saying, yeah, hey, good idea. Yeah. Do you think, though, to Carl's point, there's a risk of Republican overreach, and they feel really good about where they are on this shutdown, but it wouldn't be the first time that Trump pushed it too far?
I don't understand why they feel so good about it. You wrote about it for The Atlantic Monday. I wrote about it for The New Republic Monday also. Exactly the same thing. I don't recall, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall Elon Musk and Doge being particularly popular
among the
American people. So if they're going for a replay of that, is that really what they want to do? You guys showed poll numbers earlier this morning that already showed that more people, pluralities, disapprove of the way the Republicans are handling this as opposed to Democrats, especially among independents. And if they start really firing thousands and thousands of people, I don't see how that doesn't get worse.
Symone Sanders Townsend, what do you want to hear from Democrats?
Well, look, Mika, I have been listening over the last couple of days to Democrats and Republicans because, my Republican friends, sometimes they are usually better on the uptick on the messaging front. But I think what we heard from Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic leadership yesterday in their afternoon press conference, and then we heard that messaging echoed from Democrats for the rest of the day, is the sweet spot. They focused on health care. Hakeem Jeffries, I thought, was very frank. He talked about, a reporter asked him about these narrow demands and a narrow issue. And he pushed back. He said, I reject the premise of your question. Health care for the American people is not narrow. He said that he heard similar musings from Speaker Mike Johnson in that Oval Office meeting with the president. And he reiterated that the health care of the American people is worth fighting for. Usually shutdown fights are about, taxes and budgets and these very technical things that the American people are like, I don't understand why they're arguing about this. I need my paycheck. But the healthcare situation in this country is already at its stretching breaking point. And if these Obamacare subsidies, these ACA's premium subsidies, if they do in fact expire, if the Medicaid cuts from the bill that Republicans and the president passed earlier this year, if they go into effect, this situation is going to become untenable for people. People are, in fact, going to die. And so I do think Democrats are on very strong ground here. I'm watching to see what the Senate does. The last thing I'll say, Mika, is, Catherine Cortez Masto last cycle was the most vulnerable Democrat in the United States Senate. She was fighting for her political life on re-election. She was re-elected. Okay, senators serve 6-year terms. I'm not watching Catherine Cortez Masto. I'm looking at Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff is the most vulnerable Democrat up for re-election next year, and he seems lock and step with the House Democrats and Leader Schumer on this. So I think Democrats should be taking their, marching orders, if you will, from the Democrats whose political lives are really on the line. And if Jon Ossoff himself believes that this is a fight worth having, I think Democrats should hold firm.
So, Carl Hulse, curious about Democratic messaging and getting message to people who are truly going to be affected by this, but also getting the message to people who are hearing something completely different in terms of what this is about.
Well, the Democrats are really working the message machine, that's for sure. They know they have the tougher job here, that they have to convince people that they're on the right side of this. And this is traditionally a hard thing to do. And Chuck Schumer knows this. His people know that this is a tough sell because, the Republicans are saying, hey, all we're trying to do is keep current funding going. So they're working pretty hard at it, but the Republicans are as well. And getting to the who's going to break away, as Simone was talking about, there were 10 Democrats who voted for the spending bill in March, including Chuck Schumer. 4 of those, including Mr. Schumer, were in leadership, so they're not going to break away. The Republicans are trying to chip people off of the Democrats, get enough people to have 60 votes, but I think it's hard to get to the number that Republicans need without Democrats fully agreeing to go forward. So, right now both sides are pretty well stuck where they think they should be at this moment, and no one really knows how long this is going to last. So
yeah, we certainly don't expect any further action until at least tomorrow because of Yom Kippur today, but this may extend well beyond the weekend. New York Times chief Washington correspondent Carl Hulse. Carl, thank you so much for joining us this morning.